John 19, verse 28. And Jesus, this is a powerful statement. Jesus knew his mission was finished. What mission? Well, we could say the mission that began in the garden, and all of our minds go back to the Garden of Gethsemane after he had talked to his disciples about breaking his body and shedding his blood. And you remember that he went and he cried out, Father, if it could be your will, would you let this cup pass from me? But that really wasn't the garden I was talking about. The garden I was talking about happened a long time before. It was the Garden of Eden. And from that moment that sin entered the world, there had to be redemption. The problem was people like Adam and Eve and you and me weren't able to redeem themselves. And so a mission was prescribed. And that mission that began, we read it all throughout the Old Testament, that mission was that God was going to have to send his son to redeem that which was lost. Now listen to the power of the moment. And Jesus knew. He knew here and he knew here that his mission was done. And Jesus, knowing that his mission was finished, listen to what he said. He cried out with these words, I am thirsty. Would you circle that word, thirsty? Interesting word because it has so many meanings. There's a physical piece of it we'll talk about here in a moment. There's a spiritual piece that we'll talk about at the end. You know, you think about John and how tight he and Jesus were. John remembered Jesus looking at a woman out by a well one day when she was getting water. And he said, if you drink of me, you will never thirst again because I give you living water. And this one that uttered those words now is from parched lips, from hanging on that cross for 6 hours, gasping for air because your feet are nailed, your hands are nailed. And what they would have to do is they would have to lift up on that nail and you would gasp. That's why it would asphyxiate you on the cross. And so you know his lips are parched. You know, John, as he wrote those words, that he said, I am thirsty, never dreamed he would utter those words. But when Jesus said, I am thirsty, what does it mean to you and me? Why do those words, why do we need them deep down in our soul? I want you to look at point number one. Theologically, I learned Jesus was fully human, right? So theologically, I get this picture. He was both 100% man, but he was also 100% God. He wasn't 50-50. He wasn't a hybrid. He wasn't a ghost. He wasn't a creature that was created that didn't feel it. Listen, he felt pain. He knew thirst. He felt betrayal. He felt the wounds. He felt all of them. Well, he was 100% human. Look at this point, though. He was relatable. See that? He was relatable. He felt the pain you and I feel. So when you come to him with your stuff, when you come to him with your anxieties and your fears and your worries and your doubts. All right, time out real quick. Mike, do you have any of those? Oh, yeah, big time. Big time. He gets it. He didn't scold me. He didn't yell at me. He didn't put me in the corner. Put your nose in the corner till your faith grows a little bit. No, he gets it. Look at the way Hebrews says it. The writer of Hebrews said, the high priest of ours understands our weaknesses. Would you circle that little phrase? Understands our weaknesses. Do you know what separates Christianity from any other major religion? That we serve a God who understands us. No other religion has a God that understands. That God is separated. That God is distant. That God is off. But he understands our weaknesses. For he faced all of the testings we do. But here's the difference. He didn't sin. See, you and I face the test and we sin. He faced all the tests and he never sinned. So let us come boldly to the throne of our gracious God. There we will receive mercy, and we will find grace to help us when we need it most. And we're living in the when we need it most phrase, right now. Point number 2, ready? Prophetically, I learned that he was the promised Savior. Prophetically, I learned that he was the promised Savior. Jesus fulfilled, this is crazy, Jesus fulfilled over 300 Old Testament prophecies. Do you know the chance of that happening? It would be like covering the state of Texas in pennies, and I'll let you walk the entire state of Texas, top to bottom, and you get one chance to find the penny that I put a little mark on. Jesus, hanging on that cross, knew that there was one last prophecy about his life that he had to fulfill, and he yelled out the phrase, listen, I am thirsty. Do you know that in Psalm, that same phrase was used in the book of Psalms? Look at what it says, Psalm 69:21. For my thirst, they gave me vinegar to drink. Point number 3. Ready? Personally, I learned how much he really loves me. Personally, I learned how much he really loves me. His thirst is a sign of the suffering he went through for me. His thirst is a sign of the suffering he went through for me. Why did he suffer for us? Romans tells us, but God showed his great love for us by sending Christ to die for us while we were still sinners. While we were still sinners, he died for us. I don't care what the news says, how grim this world may be at some points. We can remember he felt a physical thirst. He felt a spiritual thirst, so I would never have to.